Hi guys, it's Ben Heath from Lead Guru, and in this video I'm going to answer the question, does Facebook advertising work for service providers? Can you profitably generate leads when advertising on Facebook and Instagram if you're a service-based business? Now, most people who just use Facebook and Instagram as users, as platforms, not as advertisers, they'll obviously see ads quite regularly, but most of those ads are going to be for e-commerce products. They're going to be usually a relatively inexpensive product. You click through to the ad, you go through to the website, you purchase. That's the most common ad you're going to see on both platforms. And because of that, most people sort of assume that that's the only type of business that can really have success with Facebook and Instagram advertising, and that those are the only sort of things you can advertise. You can't advertise an expensive service, you have to advertise relatively inexpensive products. And that's not the case. And in fact, I would argue that service providers can have more success than e-commerce companies with Facebook and Instagram advertising, and that's because their average customer value is so much higher. So if you think, we take a couple of scenarios, let's say I'm selling a $40 product on Facebook. Well, if it costs me $10 in advertising cost to generate a $40 sale, that's a 4x return on ad spend, which is pretty good. You're doing quite well. But let's say, for example, you're offering a $5,000 service. Okay, now it's going to cost quite a bit more in advertising cost to generate a customer that's willing to spend $5,000 with you, because of course it's a much more considered purchase. So it's not going to cost you anywhere near $10. But let's say instead of it costing you $10, it costs $500. Okay, 50 times as much to acquire a customer. But instead of your customer being worth $40, they're worth $5,000, which means your return on ad spend, the ROI that you get, is 10 times what you're putting in. So if every $500 you spend on ads, you're getting $5,000 back, as opposed to with the e-commerce model where you're putting in $10 worth of cost and getting $40 back, 4x return on ad spend. So we tend to see that from all the different businesses we work with, all the different clients we work with, we actually prefer to work, and we find that the best results come from service-based businesses, service providers, because their average customer values are so much higher. And it costs more to generate a service-based customer than it does obviously to sell a product, but not proportionally so. So your return on ad spend is usually better as a service-based business. Now, one of the issues with that is that it might cost $500 to generate a $5,000 client. And a lot of service-based businesses, when they first start advertising on Facebook, they don't give it long enough. So they just sort of put their ads up, they spend maybe a couple $100, they're trying to sell, let's say, a $5,000 service, could be more. Could be less, of course. And we got a few leads, but no one converted after, let's say, $200 or $300. That's too early. You know, you should be probably willing to pay up to, let's say, $1,000 to acquire a $5,000 customer. If your average customer value is higher, you can pay a lot more in advertising costs to get a new customer through the door, and you should factor that into your testing process and all that sort of stuff and things like that. Another reason why people think that Facebook and Instagram advertising isn't really well suited to service-based businesses is the fact that there's no intent. Now, a lot of marketers have talked for quite a while now about you needing to have intent to have success online. So, for example, they usually focus on Google advertising, Google AdWords, or Google Ads as it's now called, because people are obviously searching for the specific service you're looking for. And that can work very well, and I've got nothing against that platform. But the issue you'll find with that is that all your competitors know that those people have intent, and there's not that many people in a marketplace that have intent. You know, let's say you're a roofer. Well, okay, there's a small percentage of your target market that are searching for roofing services. But there's a much larger proportion of your market that know they've got a little issue with their roof, perhaps there's a little leak, they need to get it fixed, but they're not searching with intent right now. Those people you can get with Facebook and Instagram advertising. Only the people that have intent and are actively looking are the ones that you're going to get with something like Google Ads. And because it's a small pool of people and all your competitors know that that's a great audience to go after, the cost of advertising to those people is bidded up massively by your competitors, and it's very, very expensive. So if you're a service provider and you've run, Google ad campaigns, you may have seen astronomically high cost per click because everyone's competing for a very small number of prospects. Whereas when you are advertising on Facebook and Instagram, you don't have that. There's not that intent there. So yes, you might have to put your ad in front of more people to generate a customer than you do on Google. But But because there's not that intent, because your competitors aren't desperate to get after that small segment, you can generate lead cost and then of course convert those people into clients for much, much less. So does Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising work for service providers? Absolutely. I actually think it works better for service providers. We see the best return on ad spend with the customers that have really high average customer values, which are nearly always service providers, than we do with e-commerce companies. I would strongly recommend that you give it a go. Now, before you go, one thing I want to quickly mention is my Facebook Ads Mastermind group. So this is my free Facebook group. It's full of awesome people advertising on Facebook. So some of them are Facebook ad agencies, some of them are business owners, marketers and companies. There's over 9,000 people in this group. It's growing all the time, and it's a fantastic community where everyone's really helping each other out. So people post questions, they get their questions answered by me and other experts to do with Facebook advertising. So if you're looking for better results, looking to connect with other people and really level up your game, I would strongly recommend that you go ahead and join. There will be a link in the video description. As I said, completely free. Go ahead and join. I'll approve the request and we'll see you in there. Thanks guys, bye-bye.